Hey guys, kinggath here with another patch for Sim Settlements 2. This is patch 1.0.14, which I'm calling Cleanup Phase. And that's because we're definitely getting into the cleanup phase of Chapter 1's mod life. We're really knocking down those bug reports left and right, keeping it, getting down into kind of the dredges. We actually found some pretty significant stuff. I should say Pra did. Pra has been a hound dog on all of the remaining bugs in SS2 and really crushing them. We got a lot to talk about in this video. Not only is it patch day, it's also time for the next city plan contest to start. So I got to announce those settlements as well as winner from the previous. And I got some other mod updates to talk about. And I want to show you guys a feature of SS2 that I think not as many people are using because it's maybe a little more confusing to use, or it requires a little bit more information that isn't maybe clearly put out in the game yet. And so I'm going to walk you through all that. Now I'm risking being in the game, risking being distracted because there's some stuff I want to show you in here. But first up, before we do any of that, gotta thank our patrons. You guys are amazing. You guys keep joining up in droves. I expected when we started doing this Patreon announcement, it was going to last like a few weeks, and it has literally been going on for a year now, which is incredible. It's really, really inspiring to the team when people are joining up like this constantly, because it means you guys really are excited about the project. And that's especially cool for us right now because we are deep in the development of Chapter 2. So really, really cool stuff. All right, so let's shout out and thank some patrons. If I don't get to you today, don't worry, I will very, very soon. I'm going to make another video probably next week because we'll presumably have some more new mods I got to cover. All right, well, I'm distracting myself. I don't even need the settlers to distract me. So shout out and thanks to Seth Norris, Carolina, Geoff, Honey Dragon, Ramon, Equilibrium, and Selenia Gava. Thank you all. And also, somebody on the 12th of May signed up and you didn't put a name in your Patreon account, so I just got a blank entry there. So if you remember signing up on the 12th, go update your Patreon account and I'll give you a shout out next time around. All right, let's move on to congratulating Carvok, who took down the May City Plan contest with his build of Kingsport Lighthouse. Normally I would be in that settlement, but that if I'm sitting here loading saves and stuff in the middle, that's going to distract me even further. So if you want to go check out Carvok's design, there is I'll have a video link to a tour in the description. You can go download that right now. All of the city plan contest entries now are getting released directly to the Nexus, so you guys can always grab them before we ever announce this or before we do the voting. They'll be available, so you guys can go check those out. There are quite a few of them and they are very, very good. So there's a lot of city plan contest entries for you to grab, and we are eventually going to compile those into little I guess just into a single mod pack. I was going to give it a fancier name, but it's a mod pack. I'm gonna combine them into a little pack, make it easier for you guys to get those. But for now, those are available on an individual basis. All right, so beyond the SS2 patch, there are a couple other things you guys can go download. One is Workshop Framework. Obviously, that tends to get an update the same day as SS2, and today is the case as well. Not a ton in that to talk about. It's mostly there's like a little one-time run thing that's going to clean up an issue that SS2 had caused in a previous version for some of you, and then there are just some utility functions that could be useful for other mod authors, but always worth keeping your Workshop Framework up to date. And then if you guys are Workshop Plus users, you may have noticed sometime after the last update, the hotkeys started to get a little wonky. Turned out I added an extra comma in our MCM config file. Somebody pointed that out to me recently on the Nexus, and shout out to you. I apologize I don't have my Nexus messages up right now, but you know who you are, and thank you for pointing that out to me. I've got that fixed, so Workshop Plus got a minor version update today. And then lastly, the City Plan Contest mod is up to date with the latest settlements in it. So if you already downloaded that earlier today, then you know the settlements before I'm going to announce them, which I'll announce them at the end of the video. Okay, so then let's talk patch notes. So cleanup phase the name came from something I was going to show you, but then I realized I'm running an alpha build of the mod right now, and if I show it to you, not only will I leak stuff from the upcoming chapter, but I will also break my character because there's a problem with the animations right now. But I can show you in my inventory. So if you equip the Vitamatic and you start shooting people, you know that it scans them and shows you information. If you don't have the Vitamatic, go play the main quest line. There's a cool little quest that is associated with that. And you can also, once you have the Vitamatic equipped, if you walk up to an NPC, you'll get a scan option that you can use. That also does the same thing as shooting them. So basically, that scan, not only does it give you information on the settlers, but now it will also kind of act as a refresh. So you've all got access to refresh plot. You've all used it. You know how that can clean up random little issues. Well, there's also little issues that occasionally come up with settlers. For example, their auto assignment can quit working correctly. Their titles can get screwed up. Sometimes you guys will hover over them and instead of talk, it'll tell you their job title and maybe it doesn't match what they're actually assigned to. Or if you use the track items feature of Workshop Plus, which you can see here if I do this, it puts a little marker on all the different things they own, and that includes the things within the plot they own. And some of you guys have pointed out that sometimes you'll do that and there'll be items on plots the person doesn't own anymore. And this scan effect from the Vitamatic will now clean that up. It'll go through and make sure that all the items that they're assigned ownership to actually belong to the plots that they're assigned to, so that you don't end up with this mishmash of people assigned to the wrong item. So really cool thing. That is something Pra put in there that is super, super helpful, and glad to see it. So go use the Vitamatic more. If you're finding your settlers aren't doing what you think they should, zap them with that. Might get them back in line and get them doing what they're supposed to. Okay, the next thing on my list is we made a couple of changes to some building plan stuff, and I wanted to make sure you guys had a chance to see this. So one is that I went through and renamed all of the SS2 base building plans. So when we started this mod, when we started SS2, we were porting over a lot of the buildings from SS1, and I thought many of you guys would want to, or I didn't want to mask the fact that we were basically asset flipping. We weren't redoing the whole thing, and obviously it's free, it's a mod, nobody cares that we're asset flipping, especially if it's our own assets. But the tie-in I wanted to make was to SS1, so I was trying to put their prefixes to match what they were in SS1. So these residential all said SS before for SS1, and then the industrial buildings, a lot of them said IR for Industrial Revolution, which was fine for people who are diehard fans, but for everybody else it was probably confusing, and especially for people who just came to SS2 for the first time. So I switched them all. If they're in the SS2 plugin, they now say SS2, and then when we get to chapter 2, they'll probably say something like SS2C2 or something like that. But the idea basically is to make it very clear which plugin they're from, so that you guys aren't left wondering if you're trying to debug something. So you'll have found some of your building plans that you may have been used to jumping down to the IR section or the RC section. You're now going to find they're going to be just alphabetical with SS2. So that you may think something's missing, and it's probably just been re-alphabetized. So just wanted to point that out to you guys. The other thing is that some of you are going to find if you try and activate an ASAM sensor right away, it suddenly isn't going to work. And that was how it was always supposed to be. So let me build one real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So shortly after the plot builds, the ASAM sensor appears, and normally you'd be able to just run right up to it and start doing stuff, but there's a big initialization period that has to happen with plots. And now okay, it did work right away that time, but if you find that it doesn't come up right away, look in the corner, top left corner, there might be a little message saying that it is busy right now, and that's how it's always supposed to be. But somebody pointed out pointed out to me, I don't remember if they sent it to me on Nexus or where they sent me the message, but they pointed out that the code was wrong for that, and it was supposed to be showing a little message saying, hey, it's busy, and not let you access the sensor, but instead it was just letting you access it anyway. And that is to prevent you accidentally creating yourself a bunch of script lag. So if you too quickly run in and change a building plan, or if you do a building plan and then change it again before it finishes processing, you can just create a lot of weird states in the plot. And so now the ASAM sensor will correctly prevent you from doing that. So if you find that it ignored your click, you might have just gotten a little prompt in the upper left-hand corner that just said, hey, it's busy, give it a second. So just wanted you guys to see that in case you feel like they're suddenly not working. It might just be a little bit of script lag, and the sensors are aware of that lag, and they're just protecting you from breaking them. Okay, now let's talk about why I have these two particular plots over here. Now there's a gameplay mechanic in SS2 that I love, but I think less people have seen it than I would like, because if you don't play through the main quest, you might not get to it, and it requires a pretty significant investment to get up to. But I thought if I demonstrate it, maybe it'll make some of you guys more likely to use it. And the reason that I decided to do that today is because I fixed some of the major issues with them, in particular one about locations being uncleared. So one of the things that you get during the main quest is called the Mark I beacon. You learn how to craft these, and the idea with them is you place them on the ground, and I'll go ahead and show you some. I should have some in my inventory right now. You place this on the ground, and your settlers will come and find it, and then they will scavenge the area for materials to take back to the settlement so that you get access to some free extra stuff. The idea was you would go clear a dungeon, drop one of these in, give your guys something to do, and you get a little bit of bonus stuff for your settlement while you're out there clearing stuff to get loot for yourself. And there are a couple requirements behind that, and that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I think that part is a little bit unclear for some folks. I know it comes up in pop-ups, but still having me walk you through it is probably going to be helpful and might encourage you to use it more. There's also another way you can use these, and that is through the ASIM sensor scanner, and we're actually going to do that right now just so that we can watch the fun little animation. But oops, looks like I left the beacon on the ground. Let's take that. But also because it is a way where we can get a little bit more information, and this is useful as well. So if you want to just drop the beacon somewhere, you can absolutely do that. But if you do the scanner first, it will tell you what kind of resources you can expect. So when I explain the part about the plots, you'll understand why that this is valuable. But you're told what you would find here, and then you can choose to place a beacon. Now, if you try and place it in a settlement, you're going to get a follow-up message that says like, hey, you can't just scavenge your own settlements. That's ridiculous. And there are a couple other locations you can't use it in, but if you just tried to use the beacon, you would skip directly to that warning. Now in the future, we might make it that you can salvage settlements, perhaps make it so you can salvage enemy settlements when we get into the Conqueror gameplay, or maybe salvage some settlements that are uninhabited at the time or whatnot. But for now, it will tell you that you can't do it if you choose yes, place a beacon. But this is a cool little, the scanner is another thing you get when you're doing the main quest. And if you use the cheats in the holotape to unlock all the items, you can craft both of these things at the City Planners desk. Yeah, I got one over there. So so explaining these plots will explain the value of that scanner. So the idea behind that system is your caravan services people, yes, they're making a connection between the settlements, but the settlers themselves aren't actually wandering between the settlements. So I've always thought it would be cool to see the actual settlers come and pick stuff up for you, especially when I was working on salvage beacons way back in the day. I always thought it would be really cool to see the actual settler roll over. And so we actually finally have that. Now, in order for them to pick up the signal of your little beacons, you need to have this guy. This is the communications center, and there are a communications station. I don't remember exactly what the class is called. It has communications in it. It might just be called communications. But anyway, this is our level 1 default 2x2 building that ships with SS2. I assume there are more out in the community. There's also an interior plot version of this, and these are on the municipal plot. And the way it works is as long as there's one of these communications within 70,000 units. Now that might mean nothing to you guys, but there's two ways you guys can, I'm going to show you guys how that. So first of all, I'm going to show you 70,000 is approximately about here. So like if you look at where my cursor is, it's right around down there. It's from that to where I'm standing on the map. That's approximately the range. But if you want to get a better idea of the range, if you load up one of your old characters that played through the Nuka World Raiders and you hover over one of your outposts, it will highlight all of the settlements that are I guess enslavable within that same range. We use the exact same range as Nuka World because it gives you that bonus of recognizing that from your playthroughs of Nuka World. If you haven't played through Nuka World, then unfortunately you just got to trust my measurement. That's approximately like this. Now, one of the things we've been working on is trying to add a UI element to show circles. Haven't had much luck yet, but I think we'll eventually get there. Eventually I'll break down and go knock on someone like Nyanka's door and ask them if they can help me with it, because there are a couple of people out there who are very, very good with Flash, and I am mediocre at best. But anyway, so you want to have one of these communications, and in that settlement with the communications, you want to have a caravan services. So as long as you got both of these in, they will be able to send someone to pick up that beacon and collect the goods. Now, the reason you would want to use the scanner is because while this person is out picking up that beacon, they can't pick up another one. So if you've only got a handful of caravan services and communication stations available, then you might not want to just drop those beacons in places that don't have high quality resources. So if you use the scan first, you get to find out what type of resources you can expect, and then you can choose, you know what, this little crappy dungeon I did has nothing useful, so I'm not gonna spend a beacon and a person on. Now, you don't actually spend the beacons, they do drop them off, you can use them again, but you kind of are committing a beacon and committing a one of your caravan services to be doing that for the next couple of days in game. So the scanner allows you to find out what you're going to get. Now, the other part of that is that once they finish their scavenging, not only do you get a bunch of resources of that settlement, you also get a chance for a discovery, and the discoveries are a bunch of building plans, and I'm sure some add-on packs have added other interesting things that can pop up during discoveries, and you'll get this nice little pop-up showing, similar to how you get the unlocks in the rest of the mod, and it'll tell you new things. So if you haven't been cheating and you haven't been using this, you've probably been missing out on a lot of different building plans. A lot of those Industrial Revolution building plans are actually locked behind that discovery system, and the depending on the type of dungeon that you scan, it determines the types of discoveries you can make. So that you can kind of start to figure out which dungeons will unlock which buildings over time. It's one of the little secret things I like to lock into the Sim Settlements mods, is just lots of stuff to explore as you go. So this is a really deep system. I highly recommend you guys invest the effort and I guess resources into building the communication station and your caravans all over, so that you can take advantage of those Mark 1 beacons, and they will work a lot better now. The locations previously, some of them we were using code that wouldn't allow them to detect correctly that you'd cleared the location, and that should be resolved in this patch. So those should become way more useful now. Okay, so that is the patch notes. Obviously, go read through the patch notes. There's tons of random little bug fixes. We've been tinkering with all sorts of stuff, constantly trying to just flesh this out and polish it up, because we want to make sure that all of the stuff that we have in the mod now is in fighting shape before when we launch Chapter 2 with its bugs, so that we know that the core mod is all working well, and only the bugs we can then focus on Chapter 2 issues. All right, so let's talk about the city plan contest. So if you guys haven't entered yet, as I'm sure anybody who's entered the contest will tell you, it is super, super easy. We've got a web tool that makes it easy to generate the mod file automatically for you. The export process is super easy. The whole process is so easy, I made a 5-minute video on how to do it. I'll have that linked below. But if you are interested in joining in on the June city plan contest, we have got some fun settlements for you this month. We got 3 to choose from. Pick your settlement, go build a city plan, release it on Nexus. It's really easy. All the steps, again, in that 5-minute video. And then there's more detailed videos you can go follow up on if you want more information. But the choices for June are Sanctuary Hills, where we're standing right now, Nuka World Red Rocket, and Longfellow's Cabin. So you got 3 huge settlements. You can go nuts with them. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. Choose the one you like, build out something cool, and release it. And then we've got cool prizes to give out. We give away gift cards. We give away custom Vault Boy merch with the little blueprint from the City Planner thing. I'm sure you guys have seen it if you've used City Plan, the little Vault Boy that pops up on screen. We've got some custom merch with that guy on there. And we give away games, like just tons of prizes that are given out. Thanks. Again, another thing, thanks to our patrons who help support such a thing. So I love seeing more of you guys join in on that City Plan contest. And then the final thing, finally, this video is winding down. We're probably gonna have a 20-minute video today. Is the giveaway of merch. Talking about giveaway prizes, I like to give away a t-shirt with every patch video. Today is no exception. And we're gonna go with a hashtag, as we always do. Get a hashtag, include that with your comment below, but make sure you comment something else. Comment something interesting, because I read through all these comments looking for these tags. I know there are search tools, but it's fun to read through them and try and find who's bothering with the hashtag. So something interesting. Tell me something you love about Sim Settlements. Tell me something you want to see in the future in it. Tell me a bug report. Tell me a funny story about something happened. Whatever. Just make it interesting. And include the hashtag magic. And the reason for that is because of the cleanup phase. Any of you guys who are fellow Magic the Gathering lovers know exactly what that is. But that's exactly what came to mind when I called the patch cleanup phase was magic. So hashtag magic. Put that in there with a comment. And I will pull somebody in the next 24 hours to get some free Sim Settlements merch. All right, guys, take care and enjoy the mods.